What are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing? Lowering the bridge.
Well,
You, frizzy hair. It seems like you pick up on things faster than our blondie over here. Try checking this. Blah 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 blah. Try not tongue-tying yourself when you try to read lines. Try checking around the mouth of the statue. Okay. Oh hey, look, I did it. Wow. Well, a little better. Let's do it 100% better. Try checking around this. Well, okay, not right now, I guess. I read it. That's what's important. I want to keep moving on instead of reading the same line over and over. I will get into a better cadence of speaking as I keep going.
For real?
It's always what happens. How are we supposed to know to do? How are we supposed to know to do that? Amateur. Come on, let's keep going. I was debating for a moment, and that's why I was silent, whether to redo the hoof, but that's just OCD and perfectionism to a degree.
stay still. Hey, you. You can fight,
A
right?
rather small degree of, probably compared to a lot of people who actually have, like, a disorder for it. I don't think it's a disorder, it's just, I just feel like that's a good way of explaining what I mean. Like, I'm kind of obsessed with getting things right when I speak them.
We will promptly shut them up.
At least I tend towards that obsession. But what's beautiful is that a lot of things you tend towards, it can feel like you
Damn
just
shadows.
are that. But
They've
you just
taken
tend
up
towards
intercept
it.
positions.
You can always steer your mind away from it. It just takes the deliberate questioning as to if it's a good idea to, and then doing it if it does seem to be. And learning from life to really figure out the best place you can act from regarding situations. By the way, I freaking love this combat music. Let's go. Damn shadows, they've taken up intercept positions.
It means they're holding nothing back and are serious to kill us. I'll back you up. So fight like your life depends on it. Let's go!
I love how Morgana is so knowledgeable about this stuff, but later... later, he kind of gets replaced and there's a whole arc about that. I don't know why that made me laugh, but it's just... It's interesting how he's the reason we're able to get here. And the reason why he knows all this stuff, even though he doesn't know the reason for most of the game, when you find that out, it's really great and it really ties up the plot well, along with some other threads that get tied up. It's the way the characters tie into the story, all of them, it's just beautiful in this game. I really love how each of the main characters tie into the story. There's a very deliberate theme to each of them, or several, you could say, especially when we start getting party members who all are, or at least mostly, tied to one of the bosses. And it's beautiful in some way or another. Alrighty. Morgana is like the tutorial cat and also
Calm down.
just kind of the person that puts us on this path. Just kind of a guide towards being a phantom thief. And I'm gonna be in kind of like a story content analysis mode for what the developers might be trying to express with this. Because there's just a lot of artistic storytelling in this. That's a good way to put it, I'd say. Like, it's an artistic type of storytelling that is meant to convey a lot more than is on the surface. And Atlas has always done this, and I think that's part of why I love Atlas so much. Or at least, I see a lot in Atlas games, whether or not they meant to put all of it in there. They definitely meant to put some of it in there. Regardless.
Persona! Go down!
I know they're weak to that, so, or at least I thought they were. I know it does a lot of damage to them anyway.
This is how you fight. Zoro, show your might! Strike at an enemy's weakness to knock them down. Use that opening to strike again. That's the most basic of basics. Remember it well.
Weaknesses and one more. Skills have varying elements, and each enemy is weak to certain elements. If you attack an enemy's weakness, you will deal more damage and knock them down. You will be able to take another action after knocking an enemy down. This is called a one more. If you then topple another enemy, you will gain another one more. This will continue as long as you continue to attack enemy weaknesses.
Come on, let's hurry and get through this. Zoro!
feel even stronger. My max HP and SP went up. New skill! Oh yeah, you do get new skills from leveling sometimes. Yeah, your personas do, yep. A lot of times these mechanics just kind of fall into the back of my brain because I'm a story man more than a mechanics man, but I love games, especially these narrative games, because they can tell stories in a way that other mediums cannot. They can tell stories in ways that are they really just help the player digest a lot of the things in it in my opinion, other mediums can't really. And games get good, games that I really get into, especially narrative ones that have a lot of atmosphere, ones that really wanted to craft a world and a plot line and themes and characters. Like the games that immerse me, they give me this feeling that honestly I feel like I need, that nothing else can give me. And it's difficult to describe, but it's almost like immersion in the things that I need to be immersed in the most. When a game really hits on certain things I need to be focusing on or thinking about, or at least it seems that I need to be at that point in time. So regardless, friendos, and right now Persona 5 is hitting on a lot of things right now that I've been kind of ruminating on to a degree, and it helps me to release this stuff, especially as I'm doing this, and I'm starting to realize I really enjoy just talking over a game like this, because I feel it can be good therapy for me, and it might be good therapy for certain individuals of y'all, and perhaps it might also open eyes a bit in a way that might change lives for the better, and that's what I intend to do. I don't intend for this to just be entertainment. I intend for it to be useful for the people who watch it in some kind of mental way. Arsena's learned a new skill. Mental and or emotional way. Probably more emotional than mental. I'm a very emotional person. And these narrative games really draw me in. Because of the emotional comforts and mental comforts that they provide me, as well as the sheer stimulation and the flow. Beautiful, beautiful stuff, man. Whew.
Oh!
Not bad. Your persona's pretty powerful. Persona? You mean that thing that comes out of you guys all dramatic like? I love how Ryuji has this like thing where he just this happens so much. Someone says something super duper like, a little more intelligent sounding. He just boils it down to something simple and rather barbaric sounding, but it works. It's almost like just he can translate things into something probably anyone could understand, that maybe a lot of people couldn't, except for like Yusuke's speech, which if y'all don't know Yusuke, and if you stick around long enough to know that, and by the way, if you stick around to my RP enough to see who Yusuke is, I thank you very much. But I would suggest playing the game first before you ever watch anything. That's honestly my policy for these narrative-based games, at least. Honestly, I'd rather buy a narrative game that looks interesting to me and play through it before I watch anything of it, just to not spoil myself. Because even if I don't enjoy the game fully, there's just something about experiencing a new game that has a narrative focus and clearly enough effort put into that. I always get a lot out of those kind of games, no matter how much I really enjoyed it in the end, or how memorable it was, or blah blah blah. And I intend to play through very many games of that nature on this channel, and I'm hyped for it. It's gonna be my bread and butter. Apologies, friends. Bit of an interruption there. It's my parents, my dad coming in and checking on me. That will happen from time to time, and if there's a sudden like jump cut or pause in something, then that's normally what is going on, because I still live with me folks. You mean the thing that comes out of you guys all dramatic like? Yes, you saw how Frizzy Hair here ripped off his mask when he summoned it, right? Well, everybody wears a mask deep within their heart. By removing that...
Whoa!
Huh? He turned back to normal. Looks like you don't have full control over your power yet. The transformation shouldn't normally dissolve like that. After all, that's enough. This crap doesn't make any sense. Can't you just sit still and listen for once, Blondie? Don't call me Blondie. My name's Ryuji.
Hey,
Actually, there's no time for me to lecture you. You want to escape this place in one piece, right? Let's go. Oh, but before that, take these. Use them carefully, okay? Medicine ×3. Healing items! A staple of replicas! Especially for me. I am a healing item freaking fiend, to be entirely fair. It's how I tend to approach a lot of these games. Like, healing items are one of the first things I'll use before, like, healing skills and stuff and that kind of a thing. I tend to be super offensive, and when I need heals, I tend to just, like, throw healing items everywhere and just hope that that works. Oftentimes. It works a little more often than I'd think it would, possibly enough. But oftentimes it's in other games than the Persona series, so we'll see what happens here. Especially because I haven't really committed to a full normal playthrough before, and I actually intend to play on harder difficulties later, just to kind of keep my my flow going and keep challenging myself a little more in the series. And then I want to go back to 4 and 3, which are just naturally harder than I think the normal mode. Definitely the safe and probably also the easy mode in Persona 5 is, because of the nature of games tending towards having easier difficulties now, when they didn't used to before, especially within certain genres. But I think that is a very good thing and it needs to happen, because some people like me just want to push through a story and not take the time that you need to get through hard sections of a game. You know, sometimes we just want to experience a narrative without holdups because of gameplay difficulty. And to be honest, I'm not a great gamer, and my difficulty holdups because of that tend to be long. So yeah, I tend towards easy difficulties. That's the only reason I haven't played this game on normal fully yet. I started on normal, I was able to play on normal for a while, but at some point I was like, okay, I gotta just keep going with the narrative here. Because I love the narrative of this game. That is my favorite part of most games. Narrative is my bread and butter as a gamer. And I will always be a proponent of these kinds of games over the direction the AAA industry especially is going in. Thankfully, as the AA and indie industries continue to grow, a lot of the narrative focus is going there. And then there, of course, are just going to be your odd AAA company that just still pumps out really good narrative content. In fact, I don't know if you've actually considered Atlas a AAA company, but they are definitely a kind of mainstream-ish company in Japan, that's for sure. I don't know if you call them that over here, but they're well known over here. However, you know, their DLC practices still stay rather fair, and they have not deviated away from their narrative focus in games. And I'm always a huge proponent of that. And I will buy the new game of all of these companies that focus on making good narratives. Like, you know, when I can, I will always buy at least the narrative-focused ones. Now, stuff like, you know, the dancing games and the fighting games, I tend to not be too into, because I really like going through a story like this, and those games are less for that. Now, the Persona spin-offs that I will be going through are the Persona Qs at one point or another, because I have the ability to record my 3DS, just as I have the ability to record my PS4. However, those will come at a certain point. I'm sure that it won't be long before I start on Persona Q. And then after that, it probably won't be long before I start on Q2, but we'll see about that. Come on, we should hurry. It's not much further to the exit. But yeah, I apologize if my ramblings are, you know, too much for y'all, but, you know, I'm sure I will pare them down, and if I do not, the people that enjoy them will stay, and it's just a good practice for me. And I think that, honestly, practicing communicating verbally like this and not to an immediate human audience. You know, a human audience that is right there judging me right there, you know, in real time. It really helps me to build confidence, and it also really helps me to build skills and allow me to slowly, you know, work at my own pace at improving the way I verbally communicate. And also be more confident when I'm actually conversing with people. If I sit down and do this on the same day, I've noticed, especially for longer, and I'm starting to, you know, get into this more and more, and want to record more and more, and you know, there's even some anxiety just around doing this, even though I'm small enough that I don't get any backlash, because I know backlash is likely going to come. It's the internet. So I've been holding this off basically for fear of backlash for so long, but the fear of backlash is just there in the back of my mind, and a thought and a feeling that doesn't need to be put attention towards it, as I know the more I put attention towards it, the more it will stop me from experiencing the joy and the other benefits, extreme benefits that I'm experiencing by doing this. And there is also my intent to at least entertain people, and contribute to others' joy and etc. Through these videos. And if I already know that I've done that for one or two friends of mine at least, because I'm playing through games that they enjoy, and that's just a lovely thing about this medium of entertainment, these Let's Plays. I mean, this kind of content was essentially my bread and butter of YouTube for most of my teenagehood, and it is still a huge, and it's definitely, you know, it's been on and off my bread and butter since, you know, I started to, you know, get out of high school and stuff, but you know, I always go back to this kind of long form, play through a whole game content. I love it. Anyway, just make sure you're good on HP, okay? There's still a chance we'll end up having to fight in here. Breaking the fourth wall because tutorial. I feel like the tutorial could have been done a little less fourth wall breaky, but I'm sure that's hard to balance, making sure your players know what's up with your mechanics and also keeping it not too fourth wall breaky for the people that care, because I know that a lot of people probably don't care too much about that now that I think about it. I don't really too much. In fact, I've only really started to think about the fourth wall breaking thing because another Let's Player I watch has, well, he's more a streamer that does these kinds of things for a living on his stream. He'll stream through a whole game over a few days, because he'll just stream for 8 hours plus the same game until, you know, he finishes it. A day, he'll just sit down in the morning and he'll stream until evening. You know, and he'll stream through one game and then go to the next one, and that's what he does for a living. People support him, including me. I give him money every month because his content is really deep and philosophical and funny and just everything that I want to be for people. So I tend to watch him because in his own way he's doing what I want, and he's a good guide in that general direction for me, in my opinion, just by watching him. However, of course, just like he's done, I want to put, you know, a lot of what I feel needs to be in this content. I'm still going to put, you know, I'm still going to run it the way that I feel it needs to be run. I'm going to still essentially just create the kind of content that I want. Eventually build a fan base that will allow me to help me to do this full time and give them more stuff. And just keep doing that. So, regardless, frienderinis, you can auto-recover by pressing the square button. Auto-recover uses your party's healing skills on all party members. Be aware that the required SP will still be consumed. Oh yes, I tend to abuse this feature. I love it. Tutorials you have seen before can be viewed in the main menu. Press the triangle button to open the menu and select the system, then tutorial. And auto-heal. Yes, please. Just kind of as a little testy thing. Because, you know, just kind of remind myself of what's going on now that the game's reminded me about it. Damn it. He ain't moving. He's still alive, right?
Hey,
Hey, what's the matter? Don't you want to get out of here? Well, I think they're so apathetic about it. They're just stuck in there, and that's kind of probably how they feel about Kamoshida's volleyball team. I'd posit in the real world, because this is just his mental projection of them, and probably a mental projection of how they actually feel in the real world about it. But it's not, they're not really in a cell, but mentally they might as well be. And that's an interesting thing, because it's an interesting thing that this game kind of touches on, is that a lot of times, just like our main character literally is, we are prisoners of our own minds, and until we kind of question and understand what has got us locked up in our minds, basically, we often don't realize that's what's the cause of all of our woes, essentially, a lot of times, or at least many of them. And over time, and I think this game helped me start going in this direction, just because of its narrative power. I feel like video games have a lot of psychological power to do good if they are developed with at least imparting some kind of thing that people might, need in real life, even if it's just an emotional thing. I think this game does a really good job of that, and of telling a story that reflects on reality in a way that has definitely helped me to step back and see the world a bit more for what it is, and helped me to, it has definitely influenced my morals, and I do believe a positive direction. And it's pretty awesome, IMO, that games are able to do that, in my opinion, in a way that a lot of other media cannot, or any other media cannot, because of the nature of video games as a unique medium of entertainment and expression, and the things that they offer and that they can do for one that other mediums simply cannot do. It is not... Gaming to me has never been entertainment, in the same way that television has, or music. All of those things have emotionally helped me, but gaming is instead an endeavor, a hobby, an experience, in the same way that a sport would be for others, in the same way that any other kind of hobby would be, because, well, there's a lot that goes into video gaming, especially... A lot of people put things in the gaming that perhaps wasn't really intended by the developers, that really make it into more of an endeavor, an experience, and oftentimes it's work in a way that a lot of this other entertainment is not. It is fundamentally different, but it is still oftentimes just dismissed as just mindless entertainment by people. It is by no means mindless. Some games kind of have a mindless way of playing them, but a lot of people will take those games and then put a mindfulness to them, because I think that the way that you play a game is important, and there are certain ways to play games that are a bit more good for definitely some types of psyches and such than others, and I don't know, gaming is just an awesome medium, and I'm so glad that that there are people out there that work hard on these games, and I'm tearing up, because that's how much I love gaming and talking about this kind of stuff, because games have really helped me to deal with life in a better way, and they're helping me even more now that I have developed skill sets that are helping me to, approach not just gaming, but my whole life in a better light, in a light that allows for just me having a better life in the same situation, that is constantly going up in some way. Like, I definitely feel much more often happier and more joyful and more into things, more able to focus and all sorts of things. And gaming, now that I have kind of figured my brain out, is much more of a boon than it used to be, because, well, you use everything in your life that you are drawn to, and you interact with those things according to how your mental state is at the time. Because right now, games are a boon in my life. A few years ago, they were a bane, but right now I can tell you without fail they are a boon in my life. At times they distract me from things I'd rather not be distracted from, but I'm working on that, and they're more of a boon, less of a bane all the time. So, I'll go into that a bit more later, but I'm thinking I just need to move on right now. Hold on a sec. Move on with the game. Not hold y'all up too much more right now. I feel like I've seen what this dude's wearing before. Damn it, I'm too flustered. I can't remember a damn thing. Yeah, it's a jersey. His volleyball team. It's probably pretty darn apparent to a lot of people the first time. It was to me. Come on, let's go.
Come on, man.
Hold on, damn it.
What did you say?
What is it? We need to go fast. But who are these guys? Do you really think you have time to worry about other people right now? Besides, they're... There! Ah, shiznit. We got foundled. Should've listened to me. Let's fight. I'm glad you stick to your guns. Literal guns later. Not yet, but literal guns. Looks like it's ready to go too. Okay. Apologize for the ear raid, but sometimes it's just fun to be goofy along to a song. Especially when it's good-ass music like this is. Alright. I love electric guitar, and this song is fucking awesome. Yeet! Critical! I love the critical animations, by the way. Those critical comic manga cutaway type things. I love them so much.
You're mine.
Vegas. Actually, I think it's for weak and for critical. Is there a different critical one? I think that's the weak one. I feel like there might be a different crit one, but I think the crit and the weak one are the same. I'm pretty sure there is a cutaway thing, or a special thing at least, a special sound thing and visual thing for criticals, and I think they might be the same as the weak thing, but don't quote me on that. But either way, I love it. I love that. Both of them. If it's a unique thing or not. And also Morgana's leveled up. I also love how he's drawn in there with the funny little, you know, the classic cat face emote. The way it's drawn on there, all squiggly, is very cute to me. Alright, let's get away before more show up. Sounds like a good plan to me. Hold on, we can't just leave these guys here. You really don't get it, do you? There's no time to explain. Look, I'm going. If you don't want to follow, be my guest. Damn it, I'm coming. You're coming, are you, Luigi? Bergen brain, get out the gutter, please.
This way!
The entrance hall is right above here. The exit's close. Keep it up. By the way, if it's not clear that I'm bi by now, I'm bi. Hello, friends. I like penises sometimes. And vaginas at others. Wow. Alrighty.
We're here.
Oh, finally. We're saved. It's not opening. Did you trick us, you jerk?
Don't jump to conclusions. Over here.
Hey, wait up.
This song is really smooth and I love it a lot. I love the space in the background. It's so fucking good. Okay. Hey, wait up.
Where are we supposed to get out from here? There aren't even any windows.
Ugh, amateur. This is the most basic of basics.
A ventilation shaft?
That's right. As I thought, you're a natural at this.
Well, I have played a lot of video games. Normally ventilation shafts are the way to get around in these kind of sneaky video games.
It leads all the way outside.
I promise I'm not dying. Or even sick. It's just I think my allergies are what are causing... Basically, my allergies are causing a lot of mucus to happen. It gets in my throat, and I cough, and it sounds like I'm sick, but I promise I ain't, friendos. Regardless, it's all the way outside.
I see. Then we just gotta get that metallic mesh off.
Yep.
And a one, and a... Ah!
I didn't realize I needed to advance for a second there. That wasn't obvious enough.
Crap. The enemy didn't hear us, did they? Seriously, we're finally getting out of here.
I wonder what it was
You
about that
should've waited
scene
on celebrating until you actually get out.
that I didn't really want to. And I didn't feel it for. I felt at first it would advance itself. I don't know. Probably, maybe because he did something, he didn't just speak. I guess I don't know. And normally that would just action would occur in a cutscene, it would continue, but yeah, it's a dialogue related thing, which is pretty good. Anywho,
Now get going.
But what about you?
There's something that I still have to do. We're going our separate ways.
Thanks.
You've got manners. Be careful on your way. Those two seem useful, especially the frizzy-haired one, if my judgment's right.
I love the song a lot. It's really good. I really love the song and its bass line. It is so good.
Did we make it?
You have returned to the real world. Welcome back.
Huh? Does that mean we got away?
I wonder.
I don't know what to think anymore.
I don't think anyone would know what to think after that situation. Like, think about it. If this literally happened in real life, every detail, would you know what to think anymore? I don't think so.
What was all that anyways? That castle and Kamoshida and that weird cat? What the hell's going on?
I do not fucking know. I mean, hell, I played this game twice and I still don't know. I mean, I do, but man, definitely some imagination on these Atlas peeps, let me tell you that, friendos.